flare, flare. Hey, what's happening, everybody? My name is Danny. Welcome to Hangar 88. Today we're going to be talking about the P47. P47's been a favorite plane of mine for years, ever since I was little, ever since I laid my eyes on it. The CY model in particular, I've been eyeballing this thing for the last year, and I've just never pulled the trigger until I got a screaming deal from Chris Hogg down at Texas RC Plane on a blemish plane. So it was kind of hard to say no. So my goal today is to go over, start going over the ARF. It is a fiberglass fuselage with sheeted plywood wings, and we'll go over each of those in separate videos. But the reason for me doing this video is because over the last year, when I was researching the plane and wanting to buy one, I couldn't find very many articles or build threads on the 81-inch or the 97-inch at that. But there were a few flight videos of the 97-inch, but that's all they were the flight videos. Now, so we're going to go over what I've done, what I plan to do, and obviously the details, and in my opinion, of what I like and dislike about my first composite fuselage aircraft. So, the P47 is the first CY airframe that I've owned. And so far, oh guys, by the way, I am in no way getting endorsed, paid, or I'm not working for anybody with this review. I just wanted to make a video to show everybody what you're working with here if you decide to pull the trigger on a P47. So much room here inside the fuselage. A nice long hollow tail. Wires are going to be super easy to run through there. I've got several wires that will be coming through there. As far as controls for your tail feathers, those are all found in the rear of the plane, minus the rudder. The rudder is mounted right up here. The rudder and the tail wheel will be linked together on a dual arm. But that's it. Other than that pull system coming through there, there's going to be a couple of electrical wires coming through there, and then the horizontal stabilizers actually house the servos to control those control surfaces. So that's pretty cool. Pretty big fuel tank area in there. You could fit a 24-ounce in there easy, possibly two if you decide to run some smoke. Firewall's pretty stout, and it is, I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it does have built-in right thrust already, so we're good there. There's a seam mark there, give you a good reference of center line. Now, I tend to forget to make videos or document or take pictures of any sorts. I have ideas, or I keep thinking of the project and I just get to work, and then I catch myself finishing up going, man, I should have recorded that or taken a picture. But wanting to make this somewhat detailed video of the ARF and what you'll get, sort of an unboxing, I guess you'd want to call it. I'd already done some work prior to, so here we are. And what has happened is, because we're going to need to paint to match wings, I've already taken and I've done just a quick once over with 120 to knock off some of the little, there's in various places you'll find little crumbs of glass, or resin I should say, and just knock those off and then scuff up the paint. I'll come through and do probably a wet 300 or 400 or high 3s or 400 wet sand over the whole fuselage before I primer, and then panel lines. So that's another issue here. I'm debating whether or not I'm going to redo all of the panel lines on the fuselage. Now, for a few reasons. One, it's not super scale, but I like to try to get things as close as I can working with what I got. So in this case, the panel lines look okay. I think they did a very good job at them, actually. It's just the placement on some of them I'm not 100% thrilled about. Like that area there, not really to scale. But what I've done is did that first sanding, and I've laid 2 layers of Bondo pinhole and glazing putty. The thin stuff that comes in the tube, it's about $8 to $10 depending on where you get it. And I filled it in. I've got 2 coats on here, and I'm hoping that when I sand them away, that those panel lines are gonna blend in nicely. That will determine whether I decide to take the time to do the rest of the fuselage. So I'm seriously on the fence. I keep going back and forth, but we'll see. The reason I chose to skim coat these and try to fill these in primarily was because there wasn't very many here to begin with. There were actually some that were missing. So if this, I'll end up finishing this section tied in with the hatch, and I'll show you guys the hatch as well. Tied in with the hatch, it should look pretty decent up here. And then again, we'll see what happens with doing the rest of the fuselage. Okay, Canopy has nice 2 nice pin latches here for mounting. Let's see if I can get that with one hand. Boom. And they are a little stiff. You kind of have to force them, but it's not a force where you feel like you're going to break anything. It just locks in place. It's a very solid as far as fitment goes. And the canopy, we'll get the canopy on there here in a second. But the lining of the panel lines here isn't bad, or the placement, I should say, not the lining, isn't bad. They did an okay job with putting in the service panels there. So yeah, that's basically it. It's overall, I was surprised to find how flimsy some of this stuff could be in certain areas. Again, not having owned any other composite airframes, I have nothing to compare it to, but it does seem that all the seams are glued well. All the wood formers on the inside are glued really well. Everything that needs to be attached to the composite airframe is attached well. Now the wing tube housing on the inside it's kind of flimsy. Not a huge deal, because really it's just housing that wing tube as it passes through the fuselage. Really the bulk of the stress is going to come here on the root cord. But I may end up wrapping that in some cloth and just throwing some epoxy on there. So other than the panel lines and that little debacle that I have going on, I need to flip it around here. Other than those panel lines, I need to form and cover this void here for the tail wheel. So I'll cover that up and then proceed with making some fiberglass covers or gear door covers there. So that'll be a separate video that I'll do. And then this was repaired from the inside. This was one of the cracks that caused this ARF to be on the blemish list. There were 2 cracks through here and here in the fuselage. Nothing super structural. I went through on the inside, laid 2 pieces of 4-ounce cloth and glazed that in with some laminating epoxy or laminating resin, and it came out actually a little stiffer than other parts of the fuselage, so I'm not really worried about that. laminated from the inside. It was an easy job because it's so open in there. Laid down some body filler and sanded that smooth. Didn't lose much of the detail in the case that I do keep it. So that was an easy fix. Ties in with the painting, and unless you watch the video, you'll never know. The exhaust and the venting, not the worst I've seen, but not the best. So strongly debating whether I'm going to change those out. I know I've made a couple of functional exhausts in the past that came out really nice. Not super scale, but you know, way cooler than a chunk of protruding fiberglass. So it's kind of cool to get the oil streaks down and all that good stuff. But that might be a possibility there. And then of course navigational lights on the rudder. That's simple stuff. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like I said, I just wanted to do a more in-depth on the CY81 or P47 and what you'd be working with if you did decide to purchase one. If you have any questions, please leave them down below, and go ahead and click that subscribe button and follow this build. So next video I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the wings for you guys. The wings, you'll want to watch that video. They were built so well. The best wings that I've ever gotten with an ARF. The main wings are sheeted with plywood, a really thin plywood. The finishing, the fitment of the joints, just impeccable. Either machines were making it, or some OG builders out there were slanging these things out because they were built well. And the prep work for fiberglassing was literally like zero. There was very little, if any, work I had to do on those wings. So anyways, you guys want to catch that. I'll be going over that just prior to glassing. The control surfaces, I did jump on those already, but again, in the same fashion as the main wings, the horizontal stabilizers and the control surfaces were built with the same quality. Some hardwood, plywood, some of them built up balsa for the tips and whatnot, but I'll go over all those pieces and show you guys what I like and dislike about it, and then you guys can also check it out and form your own opinions. So yeah, we'll be glassing the wings, and eventually going down that road where we're going to lay panel lines, rivets, the whole 9 yards. There are several modifications that I am doing on the wings, and I'll go over those as well too. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Again, subscribe and follow the next video if you're interested in seeing the rest of this ARF. Kind of your unorthodox unboxing of the CY models P47 81 inch. Until next time.